Okay, so I'm going to get into the programming features of the Jura ENA Micro 9. You start out by press and hold the middle button. That gets you into the menu system. So it starts out with rinse, product, filter, hardness, energy, off after, and rinses, display, and language. So let's start with rinse. These are all your different rinsing and cleaning cycles for the machine. This cappuccino, I left it too long there. Cappuccino, clean, rinse, cappuccino, rinse, clean, descale. So these are all the different rinsing and cleaning cycles. The rinsing cycles just flush water through the system. The cleaning cycles require cleaning tablets or cappuccino cleaner, which is a special procedure. And descaling is another procedure with tablets dissolved in the water tank. So those are just the maintenance items. As you can see, it quickly backs out of the menus if you don't press anything. Products, this is your main product programming. So I select one of these buttons here, and it's going to let me do permanent changes to the programming of the different products. So we can change the water in fluid ounces or milliliters, and flavor. So that's the grams of coffee that are going down into the beverage, so strong or normal. It doesn't tell you how many grams each one of those is, but temperature is high or normal, and that applies to all the beverages. Or sorry, the beverage I'm programming right now. Milk. Milk is measured in seconds, so that's the number of seconds the milk will be dispensed. This is cappuccino, so the default is 14. Pause is in the latte macchiato. There's a pause between the milk and the espresso, so that you can program in the pause. As you can see, I can do it on the cappuccino button too. So cappuccino and latte buttons are completely programmable in the same way. For the other products, hot water is just going to program the amount of hot water. Espresso and coffee are the same thing, except for you get the water, flavor, temperature, and but no milk or pause. So that's the product menu. So that lets you program all the buttons. Filter, that's just an on-off whether or not you have the filter installed. If you don't have the filter installed, then this next one, hardness, determines how often it's going to request a descale. So if you're using the filter, there's no descale required. If you're not using the filter, like I have it, I don't have the filter in right now, and I've programmed in the hardness, which is done with a test strip that they give you. That'll make the machine prompt you to descale on a regular basis, depending on how hard your water is and how much you're using your machine. Energy saving, that is just on-off feature. Basically, after about 2 minutes after your last beverage, it'll turn off some of the heating elements and conserve energy. Off after, it'll turn off the whole machine. So this ranges from 15 minutes to 9 hours. It'll completely turn off the machine, as opposed to the energy saving, which just turns off the heating elements. Rinses. This is just some quick settings for an initial rinse. So you can have the initial rinse automatically go on when you turn the machine on. So I just leave a pitcher under and then I have it automatically start rinsing. Or you can have it manual. So you turn the machine on, then it'll prompt you to rinse. You press the rinse button. So I just leave a pitcher under there and just have it automatic. Cappuccino rinse, it's either after 10 minutes, after the last cappuccino beverage, or now it'll prompt you immediately after making a cappuccino to do a cappuccino rinse, which is just going to flush water through the nozzle. It doesn't actually clean the milk hose, but it just flushes water through the nozzle that dispenses the milk. So that's rinses. Display, ounces or milliliters. Those are your choices. Language, English, French, Dutch, Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, German, and back to English. So those are all the languages. And that's it for the menu system. Okay, so there's two other ways of programming. One of them is the permanent change. So one of them is if I press and hold a button instead of just pressing it once. So I press and hold, it'll say enough water, and then it'll just keep dispensing water until I press a button like that, and that's going to program it. So now this button is permanently programmed for whatever I however much water I dispense right there. So it's a way of programming just by eyeballing how much is coming out. So the same for the milk beverages, it'll say enough coffee, and it'll say enough milk. So it'll just do seconds of milk, and then you just have to watch the milk go up and then press the button when you want it to stop. And those are actually permanent changes. So once you do that, it actually permanently changes the programming for the button for each individual product. The third type of programming is on-the-fly programming. So if I press any of the product buttons and it starts dispensing, during dispensing it'll show this little display with the increments. If I start turning the dial, I can increase or decrease the quantity that is going to be dispensed. So in that case it was hot water, so I just turned it up to 4 ounces. The same thing happens with cappuccino and with espresso and coffee buttons and latte button. It'll, as soon as it starts displaying the little progress bar, then you can rotate the dial and it'll change the ounces or seconds of milk that are going to be displayed. And that's an on-the-fly programming, and it's a non-permanent change compared to the two other programming methods, which are permanent. So that's been an overview of the programming for the Jura ENA Micro 9. One more thing, when you're actually dispensing things, you can also interrupt what's going on by just pressing the center button. So apart from on-the-fly programming and those other types of programming I showed off, there's always the option to just stop it when it's dispensing. So yeah, that's been an overview of the programming features for the Jura ENA Micro 9.